What's up, Taurus? This is your Astro read for July, and we're going to run through the first 6 houses. This one's going to be available free on YouTube, excuse me. And houses 7 through 12 will be available on Patreon. Excuse me as I take a drink of water. Hope the lighting's good here with this camera. I think it's auto-focusing for the sun. Just might be coming out of the clouds in the background. Hope you're well, Taurus. Hope you got a good July. I feel like this is long overdue. This Astro read sample for you if you want a personal one-on-one Astro read for you. Please feel free to reach out. All my contact info is on my website, link below. Light and love to you, Taurus. We're going to start with your first house. This is a house ruled by Aries, ruling planet Mars, planet of action. House 1 is about subjective self-awareness, personality, mask, identity, ego, self-image, as projected to others, self-expression, outer expression. So, if you're viewing this on the playback and it's beyond July 2020, this can be considered a timeless reading as well. But for the most part, you're going to want to apply this to July 2020. Don't want to take this. I'm being very particular. I want to shuffle and flip this first card for you. Actually, you know what? Let's run through all 6. Let's switch the format. We'll go through houses 1 through 6. Yeah. Let's get you good. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, first and foremost, the idea of the self, essentially, with your first house, your own card wanted to pop out. This is the card of Taurus. This is the 5 of Pentacles. It's in the reverse. So, spiritually speaking, and it's kind of what we're talking about here, we only read with love and light. You're going into the self. As far as your identity, you're probably taking some sort of deep dive spiritual journey, I guess, for lack of a better word, into the logos of self. Possibly what you represent, what you stand for. Which is very profound. And it's much needed in your journey for spiritual awakening and enlightenment, which is kind of what we're all here for in some way, shape, or form. Let's move over to your second house really quick, and then we could do a secondary lap around when we're done with the first 6 houses. But so moving onward, the second house ruled by Taurus, your sign, the planet Venus. Venus is gone direct here in July 2020 for timestamp purposes. So you're going to see, you know, money and love and relationships pick up. You're going to see progress and movement in that department. Just, you know, some general astrology. You want to know, take note that this is going to be, you know, primarily influenced, yes, some astrology, but mainly tarot, which is, you know, woven, you know, kind of intimately, you know, into the fabric of astrology and tarot, vice versa, together. For this, you drew the 7 of Swords. The negative connotation can kind of be like sneaky, behind the back, lying, cheating, stealing. But the positive connotation, especially with your deep dive, deciding to go into the sense of self with the Five of Pentacles, will be strategizing and planning, especially the utilization of this newfound sense of inner self and inner knowingness, and you know, what do I stand for, and what do I represent, and what do I want to project out into the world. Especially, you know, specifically speaking to the fact that, you know, Taurians are somewhat of an enigma by nature. The outer world doesn't really know what's going on with you guys. You guys are just naturally, you know, we're kind of left in the dark with your mentality. So my understanding is that that's a great template for the spark and the light of consciousness in your being and what you represent to emerge from. This being, you know, resourcefulness, self-esteem, values, valuables, material security, attitudes towards possessions. The second house, you're going to want to, I mean, action step wise, anytime I see the Seven of Swords, you're going to want to do things on the straight and narrow first and foremost. But you're also going to want to strategize your sense of self. And essentially build a healthy sense of self, and that's off the piggyback of the first house of what you represent. In regards to the material world, there's going to be a lot of strategizing going on, and you know, not to say that it doesn't have anything to do with the current state of the, you know, the market and the economy and all that good stuff. Material security being the current house that we're referring to, you're just going to want to apply this strategy and this wisdom, really. Clarity of thinking, perception. Yeah. So I feel good with that. Let's move to the third house of mindset. This is ruled by Gemini, the planet Mercury. Communication, as above, so below is the moniker. The Magician is the card for this house. Mindset, thinking, communication, speaking, writing, learning, interactions with siblings, interestingly enough. You got the Sun card in reverse, so this July, and depending on when you see this, you're going to want to count your blessings in your immediate surroundings. Maybe take a second gander at some emails or some old notebooks or some old forms of communication. Maybe you want to go back and reread it. You know, we're leaving Mercury retrograde, I think the 12th of July. So you're going to want to go back and revisit. What else? Yeah, the sun card in reverse, and here, if I didn't show you the Five of Pentacles, that's the going into the self. Seven of Swords is strategizing. The Sun in reverse is, you know, enjoying your immediate surroundings. And, you know, as I said before, possibly revisiting some interactions with siblings. You know, that's right on the button right there. It's right on the nose. But forms of communication where you may have oversaw something that could be useful and valuable. This will help you on your journey. As we move to the fourth house, you drew the Nine of Wands. This is the card of Sagittarius. This is perseverance, the wounded warrior. Kind of feeling like this is never going to end. Groundhog Day. The fourth house is in regards to matters of the home, which is quite fitting with this whole quarantine stuff here. Again, timeless stamp. Or it could just be the current state that you're going through or feeling or kind of operating in at the time of viewing this video. In regards to Cancerian energy, we are currently in Cancer season. Home life, private life, roots, heritage, family, psychological foundations, subconscious patterns. Know that you don't have to carry this burden with you. You know, you Taurians are very hardworking as well, but you don't have to You know, be that, you know, mythical Atlas figure that bears the entire planet on their shoulders. Interestingly enough, Taurus rules the neck and the shoulders in astrology, or in the zodiac, I should say. But yeah, in astrology, I guess, as reflected on it, you know, to the human biology. Yeah. Yeah, and I would just revert back to try to refigure this energy into enjoying the immediacy of the now. And you could even carve out time to do so. This will assist your going within, spiritually speaking. That's going to help you on your journey throughout this month, and you know, whenever you're viewing this again, from where you currently are. Moving on to the 5th house, you drew the Magician card. Excuse me again, drinking some water. Interesting to note, I kind of referenced this before, as above, so below. I probably saw it out the corner of my eye, but I didn't know that this card drew. When I had said that earlier, I was thinking the old-timey, you know, Rider-Waite tarot image of the Magician, but this is, you know, having the hot hand, being able to creatively manifest in the house that we're in right now, talking about the 5th house of Leo, ruling planet, the sun, so that's a double confirmation there. You have the hot hand as far as what you want to manifest this July. This house represents creativity, recreation, procreation, entertainment, pleasures, romance, children, and play. So you're going to be hot fire, Taurus. This is going to assist in your spiritual rebirth, as we're all kind of collectively going through the completion of a world cycle, a larger cycle at hand. You got the hot hand here. Moving on to the 6th house of Virgo. This is self-improvement, service, employment, work routines, health and nutrition, duty. You drew the 2 of Wands in reverse. This is lack of planning and strategizing here, which is in regards to self-improvement. Employment, work routines, health, nutrition, duty, service. So you could possibly be working so hard that you're neglecting this self-care. You could be really going through it, Taurus, through this whole quarantine home sector, where you are kind of really burdened by your precarious position in regards to matters of the home. So much so that you're probably forgetting that you have this time, this space, this energy to improve the self, to work on maybe working smarter instead of harder employment opportunities, or senses of burden. You know, because employment and a sense of burden isn't necessarily related. It's all your perception of what work is for you and your duty, which is, you know, featured in the 6th house of Virgo. Health, nutrition, it's telling me that you're not prioritizing yourself, and you're kind of lacking that planning and strategizing aspects, Taurus, for yourself. But, you know, interestingly enough, you could get playful with these elements. You could get creative with these elements, and you do have the hot hand. So what we're seeing here is that we're garnering energies that we have prevalent in one sector of our astrological houses, or one sector of our astrological lives, and we could use it to, you know, kind of figure eight or create some sort of circuitry where there's some sort of feedback loop, some living, breathing system that could essentially flow and you know, feng shui our lifestyle. It's definitely what I'm getting here. Yeah, you know, that first house could be meditation, strategizing to use that more so in your life. Really cutting the fat out of your material resources. And, you know, I know the Taurus wants to, enjoy the finer things in life, but you could be smart while you do it, because there's something going on with the energies that you feel burdened at home. And you really don't want to feel burdened at home. Interestingly enough, I believe that the moon, which is the ruling planet of the fourth house of Cancer, is exalted in your sign of Taurus, and Venus going forward from retrograde. So, despite what this card says, I mean, astrologically speaking, I feel like a key date will be some sort of, I don't know if there's going to be some sort of full moon or some sort of lunar cycle. Having to do with Venus, or Cancer, I should say, but that might be a prominent date. I think actually there's an eclipse in I don't know if it's the 4th of July. I don't know if it's July 12th. I believe there's an eclipse right around the corner from the time of recording this. So look for this to be the energy needed to let go any burdens. You kind of want to hitch your wagon to this eclipse seasonal energy, which is all about the comings and goings of people, places, and things, energies, lifestyles, representations in your existence, in your life. So you probably want to hitch this energy to that eclipse, sail it away, so you could be left with all this, yummy, enjoying yourself energy here. Easier said than done, but when you understand that it's all about putting ourselves in states of beings and frequencies and magnetizing. Granted, you have to probably put something there first and foremost in regards to, what you do stand for, what you do represent. I think that's what this component is talking about. And once you figure that out, then you can have that as your center. As you know, the sun is the center of our solar system, to which all your energies kind of revolve around, what they're working for. Kind of like the gears of a machine or something is kind of centralized around some sort of center axis or hub. Think of like a carousel or something. Without that hub, you're not going to have these elements and factors synchronize and move into effective, efficient motion. An object in motion stays in motion, so you need that hub first and foremost. And I think that's kind of having to do with taking a dive and, what do you represent? What values you hold? What values do you value? Your values and your virtues. Where do you prioritize certain virtues and values that you stand for and represent? Figure that out. That's going to be your hub, and then you're going to be able to construct like a solar system type figure around this energy. Sounds crazy, but that's kind of what I'm getting here. Yeah, because who wants to, especially now, you don't want to be burdened at home. Your home should be your sanctuary. It should be where your spring, your oasis, and, where you you garner energy from. That being said, we're going on to 20 minutes now. Let me get one more card, top of the deck and bottom of the deck, to see. I see the 3 of Swords and the 5 of Wands. So this is kind of just like a take-home. You could be going through some heartbreak, some competition as well. Some competitive heartbreak or some heartbreak due to competition. I don't know what competitive heartbreak would be. But I do think that, it's possible. It's possible to try to out-sad others or out-misery others. I think people have that potential. That seems kind of weird and out there, and then there's also the other side of the equation where it's you were left in a state of heartbreak due to some sort of competition or conflict. In which case, taking a deep dive into yourself will help you as well in that matter, if that applies to you. This is what I got for you, Taurus. Thank you so much for this. This was a super dope new format that I might take into the other readings for the other signs. So I hope you got something from this. If you are interested in houses 7 through 12, go to my website, runandguntarot.com. There's a Patreon link in one of the top corners and or the link up page, and you should be able to become a subscriber member to Patreon, level 3 tier, to gain access. That's where I'm going to post the video for houses 7 through 12 for Taurus. Catch you on the flip side. Peace, light, and love to you, Taurus. Thank you.